Sorry, this is a lesser quality video. The higher quality video only has like 12 minutes left. The lesser quality video has 25 minutes left. This fucking camera's gonna be crazy. Okay. I'm gonna discuss briefly what happened last Tuesday in New York State. On election night, the polls closed here at 9 o'clock. Within 30 seconds of the polls closing, Cuomo was declared the winner. To put that into perspective, Cuomo was declared the winner by several media outlets a week in advance. Now, one of the pages I follow on Facebook said, hey, Astorino's winning. And I'm like, what the fuck? So they posted a link to the official New York State voter log where they catalog every election. You can go by county results. 6 of the 15,000 polling stations were reporting Astorino was ahead. And Astorino was ahead by more than 15% of the vote the entire way. Then when they got to the Bronx, Astorino lost traction and never recovered. And it shows 10 million voters and about 3 million didn't show up. About 3 million voters out of 10 million showed up. To put that into perspective, there are at least 6 million gun owners in New York State. And New York City registers all guns. Everywhere else registers handguns only. Cuomo wants guns. He doesn't like registered as assault weapons, but no one's complying with that. Believe me, I'll tell you that no one's complying. So there are about 6 million gun owners, but you might have guys upstate that don't have handguns, only long guns that are not registered, so they're not counted. So you could have as many as 8 million gun owners in New York State, but there's at least 6 million. To put that into perspective, 5 million gun owners stayed home. And I was talking to a guy in the message board saying, what the fuck happened? Where were you guys? What the fuck was... And this guy said he has some gun-owning friends who hunt. They own hunting guns, and they hunt fanatically. And they voted for Cuomo. And I said, okay, well, Cuomo's going to have fun confiscating their sniper rifle next year. Because a lot of people were like, well, I only have a 6-shot revolver. It's not an assault weapon. I only have a over and under shotgun, not an assault weapon. I only have a .22 rifle, not an assault weapon. Okay? I only have a pump action shotgun with a 3-round magazine that I use for turkey, not an assault weapon. It's not an assault weapon yet. Okay? When Hitler took over Germany, he didn't confiscate guns yet. When Hitler took over Germany, he didn't kill Jews yet. Okay? Your gun isn't banned yet. Okay? Another guy said he had a friend of his who did not vote because she was afraid she would get called to jury duty. Let me explain that. I was summoned to jury duty in April of this year. And I postponed it to July. You're allowed to do that. You're allowed to write them a letter and say, I can't serve because of this reason. And they postpone it. They tell you, say, when are you going to serve jury duty? I can serve in July. Okay, serve July. When July comes around, you get the notice back. Okay? And you postpone like 3 times, and then they say you have to serve. The questionnaire, the jury duty that I got for federal courthouse in Manhattan said, we either take names off of voter registration or driver's licenses. Doesn't mean you had to vote. It means if you're a registered voter and you haven't voted in 7 years, they can still call you. After I got done with the jury duty, I was there for 2 days. I was on call. They said I might be on call for 2 weeks. When I got down there, they said some of you are going to be on call for 2 weeks. Most of you are going to be on call for 1 week. Then you're going to be done. I was done in a day and a half. I was there all day, 9 hours, 8 hours one day, 3 hours the next day. Then I was done. A week and a half later, I got another notice in the mail. I'm being called to county jury duty. And I had to wait 2 days for my jury completion certificate to come in to mail it to them and say, listen, I don't want to serve. If you're called to jury duty twice in 4 years, you can opt out of the second time. You have to serve jury duty once every 4 years if they ask you. But if they ask you more than once in a 4-year period, you can say no the second time. I said no the second time. The county jury duty said, we take names from voter registration, driver's license, taxes, food stamps, welfare, unemployment. If you're on paper, they call you. So this woman was afraid that she'd be called to jury duty if she voted and let her name be known. Okay, well, you're a registered voter, you can be called anyway. You're on some form, you can be called anyway. Fucking stupid. So, what does this mean now? Well, first and foremost, it means that the SAFE Act is going to be debated in the courts for at least another year, if not two. Cuomo can still be indicted at the federal level. He's being investigated. The Republicans maintain control of the state Senate. They did take a few extra seats in the state assembly, but the Democrats still control that. We told the state Senate we want the SAFE Act defunded immediately. We told the SAFE Act, the state Senate, that we want Kathy Marshone, who was a state senator from up the line. We want her to be the majority leader, no question. We don't want anything but her. Because when Cuomo treated the state assembly like his whorehouse last couple of years, she was the only person that didn't bend over. Okay? So, we want her to be state senate majority leader. We want the SAFE Act defunded immediately. We want Cuomo stalled immediately. Okay? And how far is that going to go? We don't know. It's entirely possible that if the SAFE Act is not repealed, the courts might leave it alone. The courts might say, listen, 5 million gun owners stayed home. That counts as 5 million votes for Cuomo. Sorry, you support the SAFE Act. Now, Cuomo hates his state and he wants it destroyed. And he wants to punish his enemies. What does that qualify him for? The 2016 nomination? Because Astorino lost, and Astorino only lost because of New York City. If it wasn't for New York City, Astorino would have been governor by 90% of the vote. If 5 million gun owners showed up, Astorino would have won. 5 million gun owners could have beat New York City. But because 5 million gun owners didn't care, and because New York City exists, Cuomo can now submit his name for the 2016 ticket. They might put him in the dummy seat, they might put him in the pilot seat, but he can submit his name now. So that means if you're living in Utah and Arizona and Florida and New Mexico and Montana and Oregon and you're laughing at New York, remember, 2 more years and Cuomo gets to submit his name. And what do? How do they get elected? Simple. New York City, Los Angeles, San Francisco, and Chicago. They control the election. Because that's how they get the votes. You get all the electoral votes by New York City. You get all the electoral votes by LA and San Francisco. Okay? They go to the fanatical Philadelphia and Pennsylvania. Okay? Even Austin and Texas. They get all the fanatical shithead liberals to vote for them, and they take the election. You see Republicans win every state, and then Democrats win a couple of states here, but because the Democrats win the states where there's 1,000 friggin' voters per square inch, they get elected. So all they gotta do is brainwash the minorities. You know, they'll put y'all back in chains. Joe Biden. Brainwash the women. If you vote for Republicans, they will take away your health care, and they will chain you to the kitchen, and your husband will beat you. Tell the blacks, if you vote Republicans, they will put you back in chains. Forgetting that Democrats own plantations, not Republicans. Okay? So they're going to scare the shit out of the minorities. They're going to scare the shit out of the women. They're going to scare the shit out of everybody. And they scare their ways to the polls. Democrats basically blame Republicans for all the shit they did. They called Rob Astorino Bull Connor. Bull Connor was a Democrat. They say Republicans want blacks hanging from trees. Democrats hang the blacks from trees. Okay? So all they need to do to get it, don't forget, Cuomo won re-election by not talking about a single issue. He lied about the things he did talk about, but then he said, you know, Rob Astorino was a racist, even though I live in his county. Okay? Rob Astorino hates blacks and Hispanics, even though Rob Astorino gets more black and Hispanic votes than any other Republican in the country. Look that up. Rob Astorino kills children. Okay, Rob Astorino wants kids to carry guns in school. There was a county upstate in the middle of nowhere, a county, I forget the name of it by the way, and that county had an after-school extracurricular activity that the parents voted for to teach rifle safety, which means after school, a certified instructor teaches kids, quote, gun safety. Every town for gun safety. Well, this town in New York State voted for gun safety. They wanted to have kids do extracurricular activity in the schools. They would come to school, stay after school. An instructor would come in and teach them how to handle an unloaded firearm. Parents voted for it. Board of Ed voted for it in that one county. Cuomo spun that is Rob Astorino wants kids to carry guns in school. Rob Astorino wants little kids to CCW in school. And people fall for it. People will fall for the stupidest shit imaginable. So, unless Cuomo is indicted or impeached, and no one has the balls to impeach him, we're looking at 4 more years of Cuomo. Because there are no term limits, he can run again, assuming he doesn't get the nomination for president. And believe me, okay, if the Democratic Party can get a hold of someone that hates this country as much as Cuomo hates New York State, you're all fucked. You in Arizona, you in Utah, you in fucking New Mexico, okay, you in Nevada and Montana and Oregon, and okay, how wonderful gun rights are in Arizona, how wonderful it is to carry a gun in Texas. Let me tell you something, my friends, you are all fucked, okay? Because Cuomo is gonna come to your fucking towns and he's gonna brainwash the shit out of your fucking Democratic voters, and he's gonna fucking scare them to the polls. And when it's all said and done, you have 5 million gun owners in New York State who went out of their way to make sure Cuomo got back in. And you make sure that you tell every single fucking one of those 5 million how you feel. Okay? When it's a felony in your state for you to put 3 rounds of ammunition in your revolver. Okay? You tell those cocksuckers here in New York State who stayed home, you tell them how bad you have it. Okay? Don't complain to me and don't complain to the Republicans. Well, Republicans didn't get the perfect candidate. No. Democrats brainwash people to fucking vote for them. Okay? And you make sure every fucking gun owner in New York State knows that because they didn't vote, they're a scumbag. Okay? 1 out of 6 gun owners in New York State stayed home last Tuesday. 1 out of 6. Could you imagine in Utah or Texas or Arizona or Nevada or Montana or Tennessee or Kentucky? Can you imagine 5 out of 6 gun owners staying home on election day after their state adopted the SAFE Act? Just imagine the SAFE Act being adopted in Utah, and the next election, 5 out of 6 Utah gun owners stay home. We're fucked. And you better fucking vote for the next presidential election, because the guy you're voting against may very well be Andrew Cuomo. Cuomo hates this state with a passion. He hates the Constitution with a passion. He hates unborn children with a passion. Okay? He hates women. He hates minorities. He hates everybody. Okay? And another thing. The head of the New York City bar tweeted on the morning of election day, before the election even started, he tweeted, now that the election's over, election morning, he's tweeting like it's past tense. Now that the election is over, Chris Moss, who was the black sheriff from Chemung County, who was running for lieutenant governor as a Republican last year, now that the election's over and said and done with, Chris Moss could be the spokesmodel for Uncle Ben or Cream of Wheat. Because Uncle Ben, Cream of Wheat, the bald black guy is their mascot. Yeah, you're comparing the Republican black lieutenant governor candidate to a character on a rice box or a wheat box because it's a black guy with a bald head. Racist remark. Cuomo didn't say one fucking word to the black community when a white Democrat was getting racial about a black Republican. Not one fucking word. But when it came to every other issue in the book, Astorino was a white supremacist. Cuomo doesn't give a fuck that women in Albany as young as 14 have been documented to be sexually harassed in the public sector. Public sector. But he'll be fucking damned if a woman is denied a 9-month abortion. Okay? Cuomo didn't give a fuck about the gay community when he personally hung up signs in New York City in support of his father, vote Cuomo, not the homo. But when it comes to getting elected, they all care about blacks, Hispanics, women, and gays. Okay? 364 days a year. Blacks, women, Hispanics, and gays can go fuck themselves. One day of the year, okay? They use all those minorities as weapons. Okay? You don't give a fuck about the black community, but when it comes to the election cycle, hey blacks, I like you, vote for me. And the gun owners, I don't want to make them picking on minorities, picking on women, picking on gays. The gun owners are more responsible than anybody. 5 million gun owners in New York State. They are more responsible for this election than anybody else. 5 million. Republicans, Democrats, Independents, whatever they are. Whether they're black, white, Hispanic, Chinese, Jewish, Muslim, gay, straight. Doesn't matter. 5 million gun owners, whatever color they are, whatever religion they are, whatever the gender they are, whatever orientation they are, 5 million gun owners got on their knees and begged Andrew Cuomo to stay. They begged him to stay. And let me tell you something. I hope to Christ, I pray to Christ, God, let Andrew Cuomo come in and confiscate all of the guns and all of the ammunition and all of the pocket knives from all the guys who stayed home. Every single gun owner in this state that stayed home, they need to be disarmed. The government needs to confiscate their guns because they're too stupid to own them. Okay? Ronald Reagan said it, and it's true. He said it in 1964. History will record with the greatest astonishment that those of us that had the most to lose did the least to prevent its happening. And that is what I leave you with today, my friends.